His company says it all. Événements insolites, unusual events. Olivier is a guy who has always loved board games, video games, and games in general. After working as an IT engineer, he decided to start his own business. His job is something between event management and team building. Let's check it out. Great, thank you so much, Olivier. I'm so excited because I haven't yet interviewed someone who does a job such as yours. And I would love for you to introduce your job and what do you do on a daily basis?
Hello, my job is very unusual in the mean that I can say that every day is different. There's no way to do the same thing every day, so it's very difficult to say what I really do. But in short, I'm managing a company, and this company does prepare, set up, and deploy unusual events such as team buildings for companies, and everything is different in this field. So let's go ahead in this discussion.
So you organize unusual events. So your company, actually, as I can see, the name is Événements Insolites. Voilà. And so do you mainly work for companies, or do you also work for individuals? And what is a typical unusual event that you organize?
Mainly we work for companies, but we also work for, let's say, wealthy individuals. And what we call unusual events is, for example, you are going to, an evening, company evening, and there's supposed to be a speech from a CEO, but it just dies in front of you. And so what do you do now? And that's what we do. We set up this fake crime, or we also can, let's say, make some mafiosi introduce you into their strange world.
Okay, if I understand correctly, during a speech by a CEO, he all of a sudden dies. And somebody murders him. And nobody knows about this? Is it like a surprise for the whole company?
It is a surprise, absolutely. It's a surprise, and he dies or maybe is murdered. We also did once explode somebody in front of everybody. It was very, very strange, but the idea was to use some special effects, but live, like magician tricks and some lightings, scene pyrotechnics. And so, yes, it just exploded in front of everybody. And we had to find out what happened. But this time it was a story about, extraterrestrial individuals that were challenging us. This company is in IT, and we wanted to challenge them, but are you really ready to do what you will do next year? So, yes, it was in between just a corporate event and a scenario. It's always about a scenario.
In what occasion do companies ask you to create such a scenario? For which event of their, corporate life?
There are multiple occasions. One of the most easy to do is, by the end of the year, you want to create something for all the company people, and you want them to share some great time, create memories. But also when you launch a new product and you want to amaze, let's say, journalists or maybe some great customers, you want to make them understand that you're ready to go really far ahead. And so that's the idea. How do you do that? You just call us and we do it.
That sounds amazing, especially that this is your job. It's so much fun. And I'm actually, to describe to the audience what I am seeing, and so we're in the bureau with a bunch of paraphernalia and props with numbers and crime scene objects and stickers. It is very creative. How did you get the idea to do this?
It's a full-time exercise to think about new ideas. All the time you think about new concept, new ways to make people react. You want people to be amazed. So every new idea, new tendency, you want to try to go far away ahead and say, hey, we could try to create something really new, like use any new idea, but always like something real, not all digital. I mean, it's in the real life that happens, and that's why it works. It's because in the real life, you're not ready to maybe be arrested for nothing, and that can happen. So let's try that. And how will you react if you were just going to a company meeting and all the lights are shut down, especially now, and you have FBI agents coming in the place and they say, we have a problem and we need you because you are best of the best of the best. So please help us.
So backtracking now to the moment that you decided to create this as your profession, what was your academic background and how did you jump into this opportunity?
Like my job, it's unusual. So first I was just an engineer in IT and electronics, and my field of specialization was security of the databases. But I think it was just a way to make me think that I can try new things and I can adapt. So one day I was wondering that how can I make people feel things? And I really love the fact that I created my job from scratch. Oh, okay, the events already existed before. I did not create the event industry, but tried to create a new way to prepare and set up events and to make people react and act also. So that was the idea. So I created my company and found an associate and two hired great people. I'm very, very happy that I can say that, yes, I work with great people. That's the most important for me.
So when you say I created a company, it sounds like very easy. Is it easy? I mean, we're in France. Is it easy to create a company? Do you get some subsidies, or do you have help, or do you need to have your own initial funds in order to sustain yourself in the beginning?
It's easy when you decide to do it, but it's not easy in a way that, no, you won't get real help. You will think that you will get help, but you won't. It's always, you have big administration with a great A, and they want you to fill forms and create documents and explain how will you get money from that. And then you have to find the funds to start a company. And obviously I did not have that funds, so I had to convince friends, bankers, and associates to join the ride. And when your project is great, even if it's very unusual, you can find people and they say, okay, let's try that. So you start from a small thing, and the first event and second and third, and one day you said, okay, it's already been 2,000 events and they all were great, so it's working.
You did 2,000 events. Wow. Tell me, do you remember your very first event?
Yes, the very first event, yes, I remember it. It was something not so much unusual when I see it from now, but it was already great. It was a murder mystery event. But what was fun was that the dead body was the boss of a company who hired us to make this. And nobody knew, so the people thought that he was really dying, and yeah, we had to explain. No, it's just a game. It's just a game. So please, just don't worry. It's okay. He's not really dead. And so they played the game. They found out who was the murderer, and by the end, some people said, "Yeah, you did something that I always wanted inside me to kill my boss, but I don't want it." And so sometimes you want to kill your boss, but just we did it.
When you pitch to a company, especially at the beginning, you didn't have a portfolio of clients. How did you approach companies and say, hey, I got this great idea, pay me for this and you will not regret it? What's your pitch?
It's not very easy. It's mostly difficult to explain that you never did it and it will be great. So I cheated. I cheated not by saying something was wrong. I never lie, but I said and explained that I would try to do it for 1 year as for just individual and just for free or quite free. And we tried and we created small events to try to show, to explain. And then when we started, as now we sell it to real companies, we had already 1 year experience. So we could explain that look, we have 20, 100, 200 people who said, okay, it's okay. You can call them. You can see what we did. Just look at the pictures. So now let's try. And if it's okay, you pay just after the event. And it worked. And when you have a great portfolio with references, and I think that now we can say that we have already worked for most of the big companies in Europe. So it's okay. Yes.
Awesome. Congratulations. Going back to your skills, right? So you're an IT engineer, so you studied quite a few years to become an engineer, and then you said that this helped you also with thinking out of the box a bit. What would you say that now in hindsight, because you've been doing this for a while, what are the main skills that someone should have in order to fulfill this job?
I don't know. It's maybe kind of pretentious to say that I have great skills, but I think anybody could do it. You just need to, be able to look around the box, just not out of the box, but around the box, and find something that could work. Also, you have to be a player. You have to play games or board games or online games, or role play games, what you want, but you have to be playing. You just need to love games, because it's just a big game. And what we set up our games was with scenario, and maybe I think read, be open, look at things, and create. Always create. So yes, I think the main important skill is to be able to create and think about things that don't exist yet. And you find new things, you create things, and you just do them, and it works.
What's one of your most exciting and, let's say, successful, in your eyes, successful games that you have produced for a client?
I don't know. I never thought about the thing like this way. I think all our games are successful. Really, we never lost any project. It always was okay. But we have done some very great things. For example, one was a special agent training camp, fake one, of course. Mm-hmm. And people went on a bus. From the companies, they say that they will go to a kind of museum, which doesn't exist. And during the travel, we stopped the bus, went into the bus and say, now you are at the training camp from the Delta Force, the special agents of the United Nations, the famous ones, and nobody knows. And now you get down and you learn, and you will be a new special agent. And by the end, if your training is successful, ladies and gentlemen, you will get your license to kill. And they were just dressed like when you go to a high grade meeting. So they look at us and, you're serious? You don't are. And yes, it was. So they tried, they did it, and they learned to shoot, they learned to open doors without the keys, they learned to pass through lasers, or deactivate mines, or, things that you will never do, and they just learned this. So they went out by the end saying, we have a number of new skills, totally unusual and totally unneeded, but we have them now. That was a great idea, I think, and they loved it.
That's awesome. So if I think of the setup, of course, you need to have several kinds of props. You need to have it's almost like a film production, and you need to have extras, I guess. And do you have flexible employees, people that come and go and are on call for your business, or how do you handle the staff?
Absolutely. We work with actor, actress, pyrotechnics, stage people, and most of our staff are from a daily basis from the cinema industry. And they come and work for us, and we are very grateful that they accept to work for us. But for them, it's great too, because it's like being on the scene, but in live. So that's a kind of thing that, I think they love too. And they aren't somebody different during the game. So it's their job in life. I think it's the best too, with props also, and very big things like some deco, it's always different. I can tell you, and I could say more things, but I have to kill you at the end.
Right. So without giving, precise figures, because I imagine that this is costly, for companies. That's why you were saying before that it's either big corporates or also wealthy individuals. What's a budget that they would have to count with in order to do an event like this?
It's very difficult to understand from outside how much it could cost, because it depends on what you want. It's exactly the same question if you go to a travel agency and to say how much does cost a travel. I can tell you, do you want to turn around Paris or do you just turn around the world? And it's the same, but for something very easy you have to start about 100 euros per person, and there's no high limit, of course. The highest budget we have to handle once was 20,000 euros per person.
Wow.
And it included some private jets and also very strange things, helicopter trips, and yes, it was great too. But imagine that, think about what you want first and then find the funds.
All right, because I think that companies first say, okay, this is the budget, what can we do with it? But actually looking at it from your perspective, because of course you do this full time, how many events per year, let's say in average, do you do in order to feel comfortable that, that you can provide for your family, for your needs, etc.?
We create and set about 50 events per year only. And we just want to stay on this basis because we prefer quality quantity. And yes, it's okay. Just with that, we can handle this, and we work, we get our money, and we can live. But you never get rich with this kind of job. You just be happy. And I think it's more important. Nobody will say something different, but yes, I think it's very important to every morning you go to work and you think, I love this. And you have great people around you, and that's most important, I think. Very important.
I agree. When you can find that balance, it's fantastic, and you can live from it. So if somebody wants to do this, he says, listening to this podcast episode, they say, oh my God, this is what I want to do. What do you suggest that they start from?
I would say, just do it. Go ahead, try. Create your own company and do it. Go ahead. I think it's just the only thing to do. But first, you have to think that what will you provide which is new? Just making a copy of something already existing doesn't work. So how will you create new things? How will you find new ideas? And most also important is find a network of great people to work with. Because like you said before, we need always actors, actresses, and scenarios, and many people that could just help us in every field. Sometimes we have to create new objects that does not exist. Last week we had to create a corpse.
A corpse?
From nothing. So you take a body like you use in a shop, and you change everything because we wanted people to find something inside. It's like when people create escape rooms, but in this way, there's no room. So it's an escape room without a room. Mm-hmm. Think it like this, and we'd find the solution.
This kind of events started maybe a few decades ago, I would say. I'm not sure, but so there must be quite some competition. Now, are there big companies that specialize in unusual events that maybe one could start working at these companies?
Our field of activity is fulfilled with very small or tiny companies. There's no big one. We are maybe one of the big ones, and we are just 6 of us. That's us. Now, I think the idea is, yes, there are many competitors, but they don't do the same. It's like you can say that plane companies are competitors with helicopter companies. They both fly, but they don't do the same. And for us, it's the same. We have competitors, of course, but they don't do the same things. And sometimes we can also work together with our competitors to make bigger things. So, yes, that also can happen.
Going back in time, had you known everything you know today, would you have done something different in your job?
Certainly, but I can't say what.
Really?
Yes. No, I have no regret, of course. I love what I do, and yes, I'm blessed that it worked. But yes, you always could look backwards and say, "Oh, I could have done that differently," but would it work? You never know. So no, I think it was okay. No regrets at all.
I don't know if you want to have another anecdote about your work. I mean, it sounds so interesting and very unusual, like insolite. So if you have any other little stories you want to share, I'll be very happy.
Yes, once we had to work for an individual, which was we have a disclosure condition, so we can't say who it was, but someone important. And for his birthday, he wanted a Harry Potter event. So we just found out a way to get a castle and to just create magic tricks. And it was like in Poodle, so they arrived in the place and they got a magic course and trainings. So it worked. Because after that we created a scenario, and they were in the place that the forces of the bad forces just came with darkness and lightings, and they had to fight against this, and it worked. They were really amazed. It was very interesting, and I think it's a very good memory for us.
And I wish you plenty of success and all the best. I'll put your website on the podcast for people to see so they can follow you. And thanks a lot for participating at a very short notice, impromptu. And I'm very happy to have also shared a bit of your life by doing a board game yesterday, which was very interesting. 3, actually. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, and enjoy the trip.
You can explode the CEO of your company, you can turn an evening into a Harry Potter party, you can earn your living creating unusual events. Creativity and the sky are your limit. And you, do you have an unusual job? If so, write me at jobtales@gmail.com. Bye bye.